Okay guys, hello again and welcome back. Today we are going to talk about Django REST framework finally, and a little bit about REST APIs because it's nice to have a little bit of a base. I assume some of you guys already have some knowledge on REST APIs. If you didn't check anything on it, I'm going to just mention a couple of basic concepts today, and also I'll show you a couple of resources that you can go through if you want to have a better understanding what it is. But at the end of the day, the main concepts are, from my perspective now, working in the industry for a while, I realized that knowing the basics is enough about REST. Okay, yeah, so as I said, a very nice quick crash course on RESTful services and RESTful APIs. This is the guy that taught me a lot of things, Mosh, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his surname. He is a very good developer that has a lot of cool videos on YouTube as well as on his website. So, but he explains this RESTful concept very well. So I recommend watching this. What is a REST API by Mosh? Okay. So if you go to this website, and obviously I'm going to leave it, the link in my description. I hope I can leave other links in my description. If somebody catches me, well, I'm screwed. So this, I actually read it all and it's pretty good explanation. So, but I'm going to just focus on this part here. So these are the 6 architectural constraints of REST. So there's the number 1, client server constraints. Then we have stateless, cacheable, uniform interface, layered system, and code on demand. It doesn't have to make any sense to you. I'm going to just point at the most important ones. So server client, that's important. So basically, and that's kind of coupled with stateless. These two mean that we separate those two concerns where if I, as a client, have some sort of an application or, I don't know, something on my side where I just need to get some data, some resources from the server. So that communication there is based on like, okay, I'm the client, it's my problem what I do with the data, and there's the server that all it does, it sends me the data, and if I need to be authenticated, I need to provide as a client, I need to send a message with my authentication every time I want to get some resource, and if there is something I need to remember as a client, I need to send that with the message to the server because server is stateless. Server is like, I don't care who you are and what you want. Give me all the information every time you want something from me. And then I give you exactly the information you need back, some resource. So that's the beauty of REST, that you separate those two concerns. If you read through this, you will see why it's a good thing. So I recommend reading this document here. Okay, cacheable, doesn't really matter. Uniform interface, that's the last one I want to talk about. So we are going to use JSON, something that we already used in our previous chapters. And so I was sending those JSON responses to our graphs that in JavaScript, I was doing something with that response in JavaScript, and then we build those charts. So although there is a lot of independence, so the server and client are independent and there's no state to the server, there needs to be something that helps the communication, and that's done with the uniformity. You need to decide what kind of format your data will be in. It needs to be either JSON or XML or just text or whatever, but it needs to be uniform for the whole API. All right, so we're going to use JSON, but it could be any other data type that is used in the industry. And also, so if you have a couple of resources, for example, we had our air pollution here. And in air pollution, we have those models where we have country, we have pollutant, and we have pollutant entry. All of these could be some sort of a resource. And what we want to do is we want to be able to do exactly the same things to those resources. So if you have a pollutant, we want to be able to create a pollutant through that API. We want to be able to read or retrieve a pollutant. We want to be able to update them, and we want to be able to delete them, the CRUD system, CRUD. Obviously, sometimes you can restrict certain actions. Just say, hey, I allow you to read, but not delete. And but it needs to be available. And then as a response, you send back, no, sorry, that's restricted. Although, yeah, good call. It's supposed to be working, but for the security reasons or whatever, we restrict that. But we need that uniform approach to all of the resources. And it's usually that CRUD that is explained here. So watch Mosh. And also I'm going to show you this picture. I found it on goacademy.ee. What is a CRUD? So create, read, update, delete. You will find in some articles, some might mention that it wasn't set this way when the author of REST API first wrote the dissertation about this technology, this architecture. It wasn't mentioned it's supposed to be this way. It wasn't mentioned that there's going to be this set of actions, and these will be HTTP methods will be coupled like this. But we just, it became so common that this is the way we actually do it. We create, we read or retrieve, we update, and we delete. How do we do that? We use post method, we use get method, we use put method, and we use delete method, right? And these are all HTTP methods. There's a couple of more, but these are the ones that we use for these actions. But okay, this is a lot of like abstract mambo jumbo. If you never used or saw or built REST API, you might be a little bit confused. So let's go and try to build something very simple. So let's go here and just go git checkout b, or did I think I already created it before. No, okay, so I need to do -b. So that's a base. So main is a base for my new T56 branch. Now I'm gonna install our pip install Django REST framework. Enter. And okay, I did install it before because I was playing around just to make sure I'm up to speed. So today we're gonna build something very simple, but really powerful. So why Django REST framework? Can we build REST framework without use of Django REST framework library? Can we skip this step and just go with Django itself? Yes, you already saw me building some endpoints that send some JSON responses, and that's all you need to build a REST API. And it's not REST API yet because it's not uniform, it's not, it doesn't follow all the constraints, but we have all the tools that you need for building REST API. You just need to make sure that every resource that we have, it has exactly the same uniform handling and so on. But with this, let me just go to views. I think we use some JSON response here. Yeah, as long as you have this functionality, you can actually build REST API. So why would we use Django REST framework? I can explain, but I prefer to show you. Okay, so let's create a new file and call it serializers.py. Why serializers.py? It's a convention. You can call it whatever you want. As you probably know at this point, naming is really up to you, but sticking to conventions is a good thing. And having a uniform approach is a good thing. So I call it serializers. And if you're one of those people, and I was that person when I was learning REST APIs and Django REST framework, serializers, what the heck is that name? What is this about? What is this doing? Yeah, it's either gonna click right now or it's gonna take a little bit of time to solidify in your head. For me, it needed some time. Maybe it's just because of this scary name. Serializer. What is a serializer? So let me show you what serializer is. From REST framework, import serializers, right? That's all you need. Let me see here. Why is this? All right. So first thing you want to do actually is go to Mark's portfolio and add our Django REST framework here, right? So I'm going to add it here, right? So we want to have it here, REST framework, and that should be okay. All right. So this is underlined because it's not in requirements.txt. So let's just do pip freeze requirements.txt, and that should go away in a moment. So whoops, let's go here. What else do we have here? From, and let's take from models. Let's start with the pollutant. Okay, so we are in air pollution. So let's go back to models just to refresh what we have in here. We have a pollutant that has a name, limit value, color, and removed. And that's it. We have a couple of other models, but let's focus on this. This is a resource that we're gonna handle with our REST API. Okay, so let's build a very straightforward serializer. So class pollutant, and that's the convention of naming serializers. So if you have a model called pollutant, then the serializer of it will be called pollutant serializer. Okay, and that's gonna take from serializers.model serializer. Okay, that's going to be the most straightforward serializer based on a model, right? So, and all we need to pass here for something very simple is this class meta. So it's a class in a class. If you've never seen that before, you probably did. We had that here. Yeah, class meta. So you just pass certain basic information here. So the model will be, model is a pollutant, right? So we pass that class, which we don't initialize. We just pass it without the brackets here, parentheses. And we can do fields equals to all, okay? And that's not very secure way, but we pass everything from model. It is secure for this because we are not handling any sensitive information here, but just for the future, just remember it's better to specify which fields you want to add. But if you want to go with something very simple, you just go with like fields all, and that's going to include all the fields there. Okay, so we have this. Again, if you don't know what serializers are, I'm gonna try to explain that just in a second. For now, just follow my lead, and let's go and create a new file again, and it's gonna be called APIs. And APIs is an equivalent of views. So basically, we're gonna have some sort of a logic that will return something via HTTP. But so we could keep it here in views, but I prefer to have it in a separate file called APIs. And have all the API logic here. So in here, again, something very minimalistic from REST framework, import view sets. I also want to import from .models, import pollutant, and from I want to import pollutant serializer, right? That scary monster that we're going to handle, and you'll see why do we use that and why do we create serializers. So another class, and that's going to be for the view set. And that view set is basically a couple of views that just exactly the same as class-based views for Django. So we build a couple of these for my finances here. It handles a couple of different cases of the same URL. And that's going to be exactly the same here. So let's do pollutant view set. And that's the convention again, pollutant view set. And in here we use view sets dot model view set. So you can see how it follows the same pattern. We take this model and we call it for the serializer. It's called pollutant serializer. For pollutant view set, it's view set here. And then we have this in here. It was called model serializer and an API. In view sets, it's called model view set. So it's all kind of following the same format. And all you have to do is specify the query set. So we did that for class-based views, where we say, okay, that's going to be the query set that we need for this view set. So if you want to limit it somehow, you don't want to just add, hey, take all the pollutants that we have in there, or whatever resource we put in here, model we put in here. We want to somehow constrain that. For now, we're going to just pass everything. So pollutant.objects.all. Okay, and in here, serializer class, we specify the pollutant serializer. That's it. And that's why Django REST framework is such a great tool, because that's all the code that we need. Oh, sorry, not the all. Let me just create one more file, because I am actually lying to you. We need one more file, API URLs. What do you think? So basically, we need something that will handle the APIs the same way as we handle our views. So I'm going to just copy this and paste it here, because some of it I can reuse. And in a second, you'll see why I'm splitting hair in here. I'm not adding stuff to URLs, but I create a new file. So let me just remove all of that, or maybe just leave this. Oh, sorry, I need the include as well. So I'm not going to use this. I'm going to import from REST framework, import, and what I need is the routers. Okay, and that's something we're going to use. Let me see here if we actually use routers for, no, we didn't. So that's it. That's a new concept here, and it's very useful. So let me just also add from.apis import pollutant view set, right? So we need to pass that somewhere in here. We don't need that name here because it's used slightly different. And in here, what I want to do is I want to create a pollutant resource. There's going to be something else before. So the way I want to handle it is when I go to my website. So for now, it's a localhost. I want to be able to do something like this: API slash air pollution slash pollutant, right? And with this, I want to be able to access this resource. It's either with just retrieve, so get, post, put, delete. I want to be able to access all those CRUD functionalities with this URI, okay? So let's go back to our code. So that's going to be pollutant, and there's going to be something before that, but we can handle it from the outside of this file. In here, so we don't need the name really. All we need in here is to include, well, we need to create a router that we include. So I'm being a little bit too cavalier. So router is going to be our routers.default router, right? So we just initialize a default router, and then in that router, so router.register. Okay, and we need to register something. So that's going to have no prefix here because we want to specify that prefix here. So that can stay empty. And in here, we're going to just say that's going to be pollutant view set. And that's it. We just register a view set inside of a router. And then all we have to do is we have to pass it here. So router.urls, and that's it. So now I'm pretty sure the only change I have to do is here. So just add that air pollution. So let me see here, where can I add it? I'm not here because that's the separate thing. So we want to keep URLs and API URLs separately, but we need to register it somewhere. So it's going to be inside of Mark's portfolio URLs here. So the main guy, okay? So as you can see, we added some prefixes here, so we could split it between this file and this file. So now we're gonna create something similar. So that's gonna be air pollution slash, so I wanna do API slash air pollution slash whatever, right? And in here, we're gonna do, instead of URLs, it's gonna be API URLs, right? So it's exactly the same from this perspective, from this file, okay? We just add something that is gonna start with API slash air pollution slash whatever happens in this file, and then we just say, yeah, include this file basically, right? And in here we specify slash pollutant. Okay, so I think we're done. Let me just refresh my server and see if I get something on our site, and boom, it works. So I know I was stopping here and there to explain bits and pieces. It wasn't super fast. If I just like typed it all very quickly, look at the amount of code I would have to type. Well, yeah. So this, and just add a bit here, and just add this here, and done. And we have an API. So, and that API is following all the constraints. It's uniform. So now let's look at this resource here, the pollutant. That pollutant will be accessible through this URI. And if I want to get a list of all the pollutants, I just do get on pollutant. But if I went like, okay, I want to find only a specific pollutant, this, for example, NO2, and I use them as primary keys, right? So those names are actually primary keys. There's no ID in here. So this is the ID of each of the pollutant, and boom, I do get on this URI, and we have the details here. Okay, what else can we do? Can we do delete? So I'm gonna call a delete method here. Obviously, you can't see, you see a nice GUI in here, which is also awesome. Thank you, Django REST Framework team, for giving that to us because we can test our stuff. So it's amazing. So let's call delete on this URI or URL, delete. And it's, I should have been gone because I just, I need it. Okay, anyway, I know what to do. So the response is, yeah, no content, finished. We finished with this one. If I came here again, detail not found, it's not there, 404 here. So it's working. And then if I want to do put, so I don't need an ID for put, or sorry, post, because put is edit. So I'm going to post something. So let me see here. Name is going to be NO2 because, well, I need that. Limit value, can't remember what that was, so I'm going to just put 123, and I can't remember the color, so I'm going to just say 000 for now. I'm going to change that to what it was before, and just post. The response is 201 created. Thank you. So if I go to NO2 that I just deleted a second ago, but then I recreate it, it's still there. Okay, and you can see, okay, raw data is like this. So that's the data there. Cool. So what if I want to change it? What if I want to put there something in there? Or patch. Patch is when you want to only pass something. So I want to just change that limit here. So I'm going to just delete this. So what if I want to put, and I'm just going to change this to 1, right? And then say put. Sorry, we couldn't. Oh no, so the format was wrong because there was a comma here. So let me just do that again. So let's just go here and change, delete this, this, and this. So that's a valid, and if I do put, this field is required. So you get this error saying, no, sorry, you can't just put in this and then forget about the rest of them. But if you want to do patch, which if you go back here, patch and put is really the same thing. Patch is for adding a small partial data, where put is for putting everything in if you want to edit. So you update, but as you could see, when I was trying to put this just partial data, just this, it didn't work. If I change this to 1 now and do put, it worked. We change that to 1. But if I want to just pass only this line and just change that to 10 and I do patch, it did work. So you see how many functions we got from these couple of lines. So this is why we use Django REST framework. It makes it very easy. It gives you a cool GUI to play around with your code. If you don't want to play with your code with GUI, you can also use your, sorry, let me just copy the URL and go to my terminal. If you want to use curl, for example, so let's do curl get and this URI, boom, you get JSON back. If you want to do get on a list, boom, so I didn't specify the PK and we get all the list of all the pollutants. If we want to do delete on NO2, but not get, but delete. And if I do get again, we should not see NO2, but we see it. For some reason. Okay, so I forgot about this slash. I don't know, I didn't know it's important, but it seems like it worked and NO2 is missing, is gone. So you can use a terminal to communicate with your API. So anything can be a client, and the server, all it cares about is if you give me a good request, I'll give you the specified in my specification or requirement or whatever, I'll give you some response. So there. And now I promise I'm going to go back to serializers. What the hell are serializers doing there? Like, we have the models. Why don't we just send the models and it figures itself out? Well, it can't. Serializers are basically something that will make sure that we have a translator between something native to Django, something that only Django understands, or at least Python, to something that can be understood in any language. So something like JSON or XML, in this case for Django REST framework, it's going to be JSON. Whatever we send or whatever we receive, the serializer will make sure it understands JSON. It either sends information in JSON, or if we send something in, we say, hey, could you update this pollutant with say name, ABCD, and we put it in JSON, it will know what to do with it. So that's why we need those serializers. That's why we need that middleman, a translator between something that works in Python and the world that is open to, like, whatever. I don't care. I'm just a server that does my job, and I send JSON and I receive JSON. What happens on your side, I don't care. And if you're Java or if you're in C#, C++, whatever, your side is your side. I don't care what you do. You give me JSON and I'll send back JSON. That's it. So that's why we use serializers, and you'll see some cool stuff that we can do with it. So that was me ranting about the basics of Django REST framework, and in the next session we can talk about serializers in a little bit more detail and see exactly what it does and why we need it and what kind of cool stuff we can do with it. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.